premium roast coffee, and root beer. Boy, I'll be. Hey, how y'all doing? Told you about just sneaking up in on me like that. Enjoying a Saturday with a nice cold beverage. A little caffeine goes a long way. But all of that to the side, you know who it is. It's your boy, Big Tank Hank, coming at you with Hank's Wild about Herps. Oh, yeah, we keeping this ball rolling. On tonight, we got a little something special. You've been spoiled. You've been spoiled a little bit with ball pythons, ball pythons, ball pythons. But I'm finna move you around a little bit and give you something real special. We got a cresty breeder here, Brianna, Sinful scales. And I'm about to bring her up. And we're gonna get to know a little bit about her, let her introduce herself and find out what she does and how she ticks in this here hobby. What's
Hi.
happening, man? What's happening?
Hi, I'm good.
I'm glad to see you here. Thank you for coming through. Thank you for coming through.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was telling them, I've been spoiling them a little bit. It's been, snake, 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 snake. And the snake people are like, hey, no, it's not just snakes. We got lizards also. Crested geckos, if you're asking. And this is Brianna. See, I remembered your name. Sinful scales. So, ma'am, we're going to go over to the chat. I see one set of eyes literally right there. And we're going to say hello to him. That's my homeboy, Jeffrey Watts. If somebody's going to represent, he's going to represent. I see those four eyes up there at the top, y'all. Hit that like button. You don't have to say nothing. Just hit the like button. Mother of geckos, what's going on now? Right there. Miss
Hey.
Sabrina Ford. What's going on, Sabrina? I put you out there. Personal friend of mine, fish in the fish side. She's also raising geckos now. Thank you for coming in. So, Miss Brianna, introduce yourself. Start with small U to big U, and we're gonna dive in this thing.
So my name's Brianna. I live in Winona, New Jersey, which is more south. Um, I have actually only been breeding for 2 years now, but it took me a long time. I spent like 5 years researching because I was so nervous about actually starting to care for and breed them. But I have a couple months ago I got my first bearded dragon, and I've also had multiple leopard geckos in the past. I still currently have three, and I it originally started with fish. So I used to breed cichlids, African cichlids, and Oscars, and
Okay,
then I couldn't keep the tanks anymore because it was too much. Wherever I was renting, it was too much weight on the floor.
gotcha.
So then I moved to the reptiles. But my biological father, he always had them. He had all sorts of stuff. I mean, he even had a huge 6x6 chicken coop in the middle of his living room for his iguana that he built. He would have crazy stuff, and I wanted my son to grow up around that too.
Okay.
So now we have a whole room of stuff and things trickling into the dining room and the bedroom. And he's got his own reptile.
Okay, that's cool. I can identify with that having some of everything because growing up, I had some of everything. If I could
Yeah.
catch it, I was gonna have it confined at least one day.
Yeah, like the stuff that I grew up seeing from my father was I mean, he had a 200-gallon freshwater and a 200-gallon saltwater. And
Woo-wee.
the amount of different things he would come home with and put in those tanks was crazy. I mean,
That's
he
off
had
the hook.
shark, he had lionfish, octopus, he had different cichlids, different catfish, different Oscars, all sorts of stuff.
Okay. That's what I'm saying. Man of my own heart. Let's see who else we had stroll in the door here. I see my uncle on there, Johnny Johnson. What's up now? Bunny Viper, what's happening, ma'am? Thank you for coming through. Y'all hit that like button. Share this out. So, Miss Brianna, what is your favorite um morph? Y'all have morphs, right? Or do you not have
Yeah,
morphs?
we do.
Okay, okay. So you specialize in what color combinations and whatnot?
Um, so majority of what I've been working on is Dalmatians. Um, and I do pattern Dalmatians, which is like a Harlequin with Dalmatian spots, and I do the traditional lighter based tigers and brindles that are
Okay,
that have Dalmatian spots. But I wanted to work on fixing the structure because that morph, the structure is just it's most of them are like bald. They don't really have those nice big floppy crests that you would typically see on a crested gecko.
okay,
So I'm focusing mostly on those, but I also work with red and dark based harlequins and pinstripes. And then I have some Halloweens and stuff like that that I've been getting out of different breeding projects that I'm going to start working with.
okay. Oh, Miss Crystal, how you doing? Bunny Viper, she doesn't have a YouTube yet. She's gonna need to get herself one though.
I know I have the Instagram, a Facebook, and a TikTok, but I didn't get on YouTube yet.
Right, gotcha. If Bunny, see if you can find her Instagram, and you can post any of those up here also. I think the links also, um, I think you can use and go to the actual link from the chat. I've seen people do it on other streams, but I'm not sure. We can try it. You know what I'm saying? But welcome in, y'all. Welcome in. So are you already selling them out to the masses?
I do. So I have since I started, I held them back for like 4 or 5 months, and then I started to kind of sell the ones I knew I wasn't gonna um, work on project wise. I don't ship outside of the country, but I currently have 4 listed, and then I have a lot. I've got a lot of experience over the past year shipping, because I wound up actually only keeping a couple out of last season. And so it gave me it made me feel a lot more comfortable shipping out and everything like that to people so that I can share my projects with more people because I didn't want it to just be like, if you're a state or two away from me or something, then
Hmm.
we can meet up. Like, I wanted people in Cali to be able to share my bloodlines and everything like that so that we could kind of work on the same things and help
Good
out
deal.
other breeders.
Good deal. Good deal. Silver Creek Aquarius, welcome in. Yes, she's the gecko.
Yeah.
So, what are your setups like?
Um, so I have a couple different sizes I can show you right now. This is all hatchlings, and I have them all. The lights shut off at 7 o'clock, but I have them all individually lit, and this is all hatchlings. And then underneath and here would be where I have juveniles. So that is anything that's 10 grams, between 10 and 30 grams. I put them in 32 quart tubs, and then all of my adults are in um 66 quart tubs. And then I string cork bark and stuff like that through them. Like this is one that I have.
Okay, okay.
But I don't have the budget for like PVC like I want. but hopefully soon.
Get in, get in where you fit in.
Yeah,
Get in where
but
you fit in.
I think it's helped a lot of people see that you don't need to go right to the big fancy exoterras for 130 animals, or the rooms of PVC. When if you can't afford it, you can't afford it. But there are good alternatives. Like all of this stuff is equivalent to the size of a PVC or an exoterra that these animals should be in.
Gotcha, gotcha. Hey, that's all right, Bunny. I can string it on the description at the end once it uploads as a video. We got it. We got her. We got her. But thank you for your work, though, ma'am. And what do you feed them? Or do they eat live, or do you have like a paste or chow?
So they have a crested gecko diet, which is kind of same as like a paste. Like you just mix water with it to like a ketchup consistency, and they get that every day. It's constantly offered to them because that'll have most of their nutrition. And then it's switched out every other day for them. But I also offer crickets, dubia roaches, and occasionally mealworms. But the mealworms are a little harder for them to digest, so I don't do it super often.
Okay, okay. So do they find them to be like a treat?
They for adults they do. Anybody that's under 25 to 30 grams, I normally feed live 2 or 3 times a week. So it's
Okay,
a little bit more than a treat when they're still growing and stuff like that, just to help keep them going.
gotcha, gotcha. Have you started going to any shows, or like the trade deals? You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. I haven't done any vending myself, but I have went to expos where I've met up with people. And most of the time I just go and I'll like talk to the other breeders and let them know that I'm around this area and see what they got going on their tables and stuff like that. But yeah, I haven't actually vended myself yet.
Okay, okay. So have you got exactly? Hold on, let me rephrase that question. What else are you looking to bring in morph wise to put with what you have now?
I just got my first Lilly White a little while ago. He's still little, but I'm gonna breed him up and then I can add him into non-spotted lines and get
Gotcha.
some Lilly Whites going.
Okay, what's called? What do you know? What causes the Is it the Dalmatians that's having the issues?
The Dalmatians, if you're talking about the structure,
Yeah.
it's just people not caring about it with them. With that morph, a lot of people don't even care about it having structure or not having structure. They're just focused on getting as many spots as they can on the animal by breeding that in. And I'd rather work on the structure. And I
Yeah, I would
have a
think that was important.
yeah, like I don't want a gecko that doesn't really have the crests that it's known for. So I decided to take the route of working on that compared to focusing on getting as many spots on each animal as I can, like so many other breeders do.
Gotcha. Do you have a favorite one, like in
I
house?
I do. Uh, um, I he was my first, so I'm kind of prejudiced about it. And I mean, people have asked to buy him from me, and I'm like, he's dying here. I don't.
Uh, I
Sorry.
hear you. Can you
He
show him?
I can. Let me see where he is. Hi, bud. So this is Kaiba.
Nice, nice.
And he is what started me wanting to work on the structure because for let me see if I can get the lighting a little better. For a Dalmatian, he's got pretty good structure. Like he's all
Good
bugged
looking
out.
little fella.
He was just eating. And he
Okay,
was the
good.
first one that I got that I was like, I'm definitely going to start working with crested geckos.
Gotcha.
What made you decide his name? So his name actually comes from an anime that I used to watch and read. The main character is in Wolf's Rain, which is an old comic or anime. His name is Kaiba, and when it's about wolves, like people who can change into wolves.
Lichens and whatnot.
Yeah. I didn't want to say it to where it would seem weird, but
I
but
listen. I listen to podcasts every day on my way to work about Bigfoot, Dog Man. So hey, it won't seem strange to me.
okay, because yeah, I was like, I don't want it to sound like really weird, but when he's fired down, he's like white, and that's what in the comic, that's what Kaiba's wolf looks like. So I was like, I gotta name him that.
Okay, yeah, he's a good looking fella. You got any babies off of him?
I do. I actually held back a couple. He was paired last year to two females, and I held a male and a female from each pairing because I wasn't sure. I wasn't sure which one I wanted to work with the most. So I just picked out the best male and the best female from the pairings and kept them. Let me see. The one that looks the most like him was actually he was one of the first that hatched out. But he's a little darker. There, bud.
Welcome in, Aquafunk. Still, what's going on? Okay,
That's his son.
he throws his jeans, don't he?
Yeah. Oh, where is he? There it is. Yeah, he's got pretty good coverage, and his spots are dark.
Nice, nice.
He's hopping all over.
Let me see, Bunny. Let me go back to your question. Oh, here we go. Some reptiles, such as beardies and uromastics, can eat baby food like chicken or fruit slash veggies. Can geckos have this added to their diet?
So the baby food thing, it used to be a thing. It's not anymore. It's got way too much. It shouldn't be offered to any reptile. It's been found to have way too much sugar in it. So it makes them obese very, very fast.
Okay, okay.
But 10, 15, 20 years ago, people were giving there was no crested gecko diet. It wasn't a thing. So they didn't know. And it was something that was regularly fed to them, but yeah, they found out pretty quick that it makes them really obese. And it
Gotcha,
shortens their lifespan.
gotcha. Yeah, Bunny was saying she kept them years ago and fed organic baby food.
Yeah. Yeah, it's something I heard about a lot from people who had them quite a while ago. So it definitely wasn't uncommon, but now they say to just stay away from it, and just stick to the crested gecko diet.
Gotcha. And the we had a question about what other morphs have you thought about working with, and you said you just bought a Lilly White.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I just got a Lilly White, and then I had a couple things that I wanted to work on with quad stripes, and empty backs, which is essentially the same thing as a quad stripe, but instead of it having a very solid, like a more solid dorsal, it'll just be like totally dark. What other morphs would you work with? If I could get my hands on it, a cappuccino, but that's not happening because I rent. I don't even have the down payment for my house, let alone the price of those animals. Because those are crazy.
Kike, Bosa Balls, welcome in, sir. Welcome in. So we empty backs. Is that a crested gecko phrase?
It is. I have one male that people have asked me a couple times if he's het for it, but I don't know because he didn't come with genetics. Well, he didn't come with lineage, so I can't look back at his parents to see if one of them was an empty back. But I'm gonna test him out with a another female that has a little bit of the empty back markings to see if I can get some from them too when she's big enough.
Okay. And what is the like the characteristics of empty back?
So that you're gonna have the pitting down the dorsal, but instead of it being like, it'll be the same exact. So like if you have a dark based crested gecko, like black, you'll have the two pinning lines, but then it'll be like the same exact dark base as on the rest of the body, instead of it being a different tone. Um, and it's super distinct. It looks really cool because it looks like you just highlighted the lining on the down the spine and then blacked out everything else on in the center.
Okay, okay. Do you have any dark bases you can show us?
Yeah. Let me pull out a little one. This is one that I'm growing out.
Woo!
You get used to that fast with these guys.
Nice. Oh,
Please don't go in my coffee.
that's all about the coffee. Very nice. Very nice.
I'll get another one because I don't know why he's being so spastic. He's normally pretty calm. I don't know why he's being weird.
And while you're looking, someone said, what are the biggest geckos out there? And what is a big good beginner gecko?
Um, the biggest one is Alicianus. They're they're like, I think what probably they're probably around like 5 or 6 times bigger than these guys.
Nope.
But they're not beginner price range. They're, honestly, if you're gonna look for a beginner friendly, I don't really like using that term just because regardless of what type of animal you get, there's still very specific husbandry aspects that you need to watch for. So when people hear beginner, they don't look into the animal that much. And then it winds up that somebody messes something up and the animal suffers. But if you're uncomfortable with something that's very high maintenance, your best bet is honestly going to be, if you want an arboreal animal, to get a day gecko or a crested gecko, even gargoyle geckos. I have a couple because I'm going to be working on them soon. So I was growing out a few, but they're the same exact care. Same food, same care, everything like that. But they're not as jumpy. Like crested geckos are pretty jumpy. Gargoyle geckos not. They don't really.
And what would that morph be called?
This one, this is one of Pangea Reptiles lines. It's their XXX line or triple X line. But he's got. You have food all over you.
It's good. I'm seeing that they're crunk like that before. So when I get one, if I get one, I know what to look forward to.
It's always it's most of the time it's the boys that are like that. So like these two darker based ones were both boys and they're crazy. But like, see, he has 3 different colors on him. He has cream, orange, and then he's a black base.
Gotcha.
What are you reaching for?
Nice. So is there any morph that you've imagined that you want to maybe duplicate yourself with your own breedings?
I want to work more with. I got a couple last season and I didn't expect it at all, and I don't know why I didn't, because it was a brindle to a harlequin. But I got a couple brindle quins, and one of them is a Halloween out of a pairing that I didn't think was going to produce Halloweens. So I wanted to work on that and see if I can get some Halloween brindle quins. And I thought that would look really cool. And I wanted to see if I could mess around with it and make that its own separate line that I could work on.
And what makes a Halloween a Halloween?
Halloweens are, so like with the male that I just had out, he had 3 different bases. Halloweens are just orange and black. They're not going to have cream on them. They're just going to be orange and black.
Okay, and then brindle would be a lot of broken up orange and black.
So a brindle is going to be the pattern itself. It's not focusing on the color. The brindle part of it is striping down the sides, down the laterals, but it doesn't. What makes it a difference between a brindle and a tiger is that a tiger, the lines are going to go up the laterals and connect across the dorsal to each other. And a brindle, it's not. The dorsal pattern is going to be broken compared to the pattern that's striping down on the laterals.
Okay, gotcha. Mother of geckos said, how many geckos do you have?
Not just crested geckos. There's 96 right now, and then I have 4 gargoyle geckos and 3 of my leopard geckos.
Okay. So you have anything else you could show us? Any other color variation? We're trying to get educated up in here.
I have a red Dalmatian, but he bites. I don't care about getting bit, but just to warn you. He's always fired up too. Hey. He
and making noise. He's just angry.
he thinks everything is a female that he can mate.
That's pretty. He's pretty.
But he is a good-looking little dude. He's just trouble. You get off my finger? So if you've never heard a crested gecko's mating call,
How
he'll
old is
always
he?
give it to you. He's 6.
What's it? One of I say he's a randy little dude.
He is.
Randy.
But this is he'll wait. Like when I go, he knows when I'm coming in to feed or mist or anything, and he'll wait at the very front of his tub and just wait until I open it, and he'll jump on my shirt or my hand or my arm, and he just does this the whole time.
Have you got any babies off of him? Because he looks like he's ready.
No, I tried. Can you get off? I tried to pair him to one of my females, but it didn't. They didn't lock right. He got way too excited, and he hurt himself. So I haven't. He's all healed up, but I had to take him to the vet that night, and I just. This is probably why he's so angry, but I just left him on the bleachers for this season after that.
Oh.
So it's probably why he's like this, because he hasn't gotten any action since then. But
He's like pent up frustration.
yeah, and luckily it doesn't. He's got to really get you good in order for it to hurt. So that's my bracelet. Don't do that. No.
Mother Gecko said, "How long does it take you to feed 90 geckos?" It takes her
It,
45 minutes to an hour to do 40.
yeah, I mean it. I can run. I've gotten used to it. I have like a system for it all, but it still takes me like 2 hours. Can you go back?
Frankie B, what's going on? How often do eggs hatch? How many typical at one time? And I guess how long does it take for gestation, incubation, the whole nine?
So it's 2 eggs per clutch. Typically every 30 days. Sometimes they can lay like around 25 days. And then if you have a female that's being a little bit slower, she can lay every 40 days. But that's how often they'll lay 2 eggs each time. And then I incubate at room temperature because I have the room set to a specific temperature or range. But you can incubate anywhere from 70 to 78. I would probably say is a safer bet because I mean some people say like 80, but if the geckos don't like 80, I don't see the eggs incubating that well there. And they'll hatch in 60 days at the soonest if they're incubating at a higher temperature. But if you let them incubate at a lower 70s, then you'll get to like anywhere from 90 to 120 days. And that's where you'll get more structure in the animal. So the longer it incubates, the better the structure is going to be typically,
Makes sense.
like 90% of the time. And yeah, normally if you see one baby, like if I see a baby hatch and its clutch mate didn't, I leave it in the incubator with it for a couple hours because that baby rubbing around and crawling on the egg will encourage its clutch mate. And if it doesn't after like 3 or 4 hours, I'll go in there and all you got to do is like rub the egg a little bit and the baby will hatch out. And then I leave them in the incubator for the first 24 hours so that they can have their first shed. And then I'll put them in their own setup.
Got you. Question before that one. How long do they live? And then that question.
Okay. So they can live like 20 years. Um I think I remember seeing somebody say that they had one that was like 25 or 26, but that's not super common. You got to have your husbandry right for quite a long time. Um, um and even then sometimes it's just stuff happens. Just like people. I mean, you could be living the healthiest life and something could still happen at like 68.
Yeah. Yeah.
um and then the temperature of the eggs does, from what anybody's seen, it does not affect the gender at all of the babies. It's just a 50-50 chance each time. And most of the time, it's boys. There's a much higher chance of having males in crested geckos than it is hatching out females.
Hmm. Does anybody have any idea of why that is? Like, is that a
Not that I've
wild from the
seen.
wild scenario?
Um, no, I mean, the only thing that I've kind of gathered, just because I was like I grew up on Animal Planet and always researching animals and stuff like that. And I really wanted a career in animals, but I did not want to go to school for it. so, so I didn't. This is my alternative. But from what it seems like to me, because females can retain sperm I mean, some can retain sperm for up to 2 years. I think it's just that it's easier for more males to spread their genetics by pairing with the same female. So there's not as much of a need for more females.
Gotcha. Aqua balls, welcome in, welcome in. So, what would be the recommended enclosure size? Because I'm sitting there looking at these. I was thinking, you know, ball python, but just looking at your, geckos, I may have to, think a little harder about maybe getting me a Crested.
Just not him.
Yeah, yeah, no, I don't.
Not Carnage. His name fits him.
Gotcha.
Um
So,
so for babies, if you did like an exoterra, you're up until like 10 grams, you're good in an 8 by 8 by 12. After that, I would do a 12 by 18 by 18, I think the next size is for that. Something close to that, like similar to a 10 or 15 gallon. And then for an adult, I would recommend, for if you were to do a tank, which most people do, I would do a 18 by 18 by 24 at the minimum.
okay.
The bigger you go for that, the better, in my opinion. I know some people are going to say, oh, they can't find their food. No, their noses are so much better than ours. The only thing with getting a bigger setup is you're going to encourage them to be more active. So because their crested gecko isn't super fat, they think that it can't find its food. And that's what that argument is. When in reality, they're just being more active than a gecko that's in a 20-gallon tank or something similar. And that's why, because there's not as much space. They can't move around as much. So they're going to put on more weight.
And a rule of thumb in most critter husbandry anyway is to feed in the same place.
Hmm. Yeah. And if you're feeding in the same place and they can smell it, they're fine. As long as they're pooping, they're eating. So you shouldn't have to worry.
Oh, that's right. So when do you think you gonna okay, you say, do you still have leopards?
I do. Um, I keep the leopard geckos in our bedroom, and I'm working on setting them all. I'm testing it right now. I bought one, but I'm trying to put them in grow tents so that I can stack them. Um, and I keep all of my leopard geckos in. Currently, they're in like 40 gallons or equivalent, but I wanted to up that for them. So I got them. I'm gonna put my first leopard, my oldest leopard gecko in a 24 by 24 by 42 grow tent, which is a little bit bigger than the tank that he's in now. It's gonna have more height for him. And then I make a lot of the stuff for my reptiles. So like I do like the foam backgrounds and stuff like that, and I'm gonna make a whole separate like second floor for him so that he can utilize as much space as possible with still getting like his heat and everything like that right. And I'm gonna see how that works, and then hopefully it encourages more people to. Because I mean, this grow tent is like $30. So if more people can get into that and offer more space for leopard geckos, then I think that would be awesome. Because that's why I don't breed them. I do not breed leopard geckos because I've seen more people offer up awful husbandry
Yeah.
with a leopard gecko than a crested gecko. And I do not want to add into that by breeding and selling to people.
Yeah, I've seen a lot of bone issues. When I
Yeah.
was looking into the African fat tails, the requirements for the nutrition is pretty much run the same gamut. So I was, there was these pictures and videos, and I'm like, how can how can they even sit and look at there's a looking like this? You still have this, this creature you take care of, and it's just deteriorating right before your eyes. How is
Yeah.
that even a real thing?
I've taken in 3 that were like that.
Do they
Where
make
I
a good comeback?
hmm?
Do they make a good comeback? I mean, especially if they're like adults and they have can they come back from that?
As adults, probably not. No, not for. I mean, it can occasionally happen, but I had one baby that I got her, and she had metabolic bone disease starting up. You could see it bad in her front legs, and then she had burn marks all over her belly from them not using a heat mat. She was a baby and only eating once every 1 or 2 weeks. So she was super skinny. The original owner didn't know that you were supposed to add calcium or have a thermostat for the heat mat and had her in a 5 gallon tank. And it took an emergency vet visit like $400 and months to get her back. And I mean, I didn't keep her because I just couldn't, but I kept her until she was fully good, and her front legs actually went back to normal.
Okay.
But I think it was because she was a baby. She was still growing, so all that calcium could still rebuild itself. I haven't seen it fix itself in adults though. Um, is yeah, I feel like with the if you get it as a baby and it has MBD, you can probably get it to reverse itself from what they say, but I don't really think you can with the adults. It's kind of just that's what they're stuck with for their life.
Gotcha. Hmm. What is the recommended base to use for bottom of enclosure? I guess even meaning the different substrates, I guess.
Okay. Um, it's kind of, it really depends on you. Like, you can, you can use paper towels. I don't like them. I have them for the hatchlings, but I hate them. I'm not gonna lie. um, and any of my adult males and my juveniles, they're in bioactives. Like all of those tubs are bioactive. Um, I don't currently do it with the adult females. I have them on puppy pads because they don't get stuck to the bottom of the tub like paper towels would. But you can use the paper towels. You could go bioactive. You could just use cocoa chunks, like the actual chunks of cocoa. I don't really, they don't seem to really like that. I did try it, but for a lot of my geckos like to cool themselves off and get a little bit more humidity by burrowing, and they can't really do that in the cocoa chunks. Um, but yeah, you could. I mean, I've even seen people use like the brown construction paper that's really thick
Mm.
and cut that to size and use it. It's just if you're not using a more natural substrate, you have to make sure that that humidity is up a little bit more. If you're using the natural substrates, then you need to make sure that the humidity does have a normal drop to like some people are going to argue about this, but I've seen it be most successful with a daily humidity drop of 50 to 40%. So in order for me to do that in my area, like in Jersey, where it is a little more humid, I only mist once a day. And but it's still pretty humid until the next day when I go to mist. But the substrates, it's really just personal preference. If you're new, stick with paper towel until you know there's no parasites in the animal you just got. You know that they're going to the bathroom normal, that their stool looks normal. And then if you don't want to do the paper towels because you don't like how low the humidity is, test something else out. Just mess around with it a little until you figure out what you like the most.
Most definitely. What is the average full grown size of a crested?
Um, it's with their tail because they can't regrow the tail once it drops. With the tail, it's like 8 to 10 inches. Um, without the tail, they're honestly probably like I think what 4 or 5 inches long without their tail.
And I'm glad to see that yours have still have that tail, because one of the things that would turn me off every time I would go and shop on pages is see all these little bare butt geckos.
The
I'm like,
little frog butts.
if I have a lizard, I want a tail. I don't. And I was
Yeah, I
wondering
mean
how sensitive they are to
they're
dropping
not
that
that
tail.
bad. I do have some that don't have the tail. Most of mine, they have their tails, especially all of the ones that I've raised have their tails. It's just don't like some people, and I've seen it, like some people like kind of grip up their animals. Don't, like if just you have to read it. Like you have to read the animal and realize like they're getting way too stressed out. I need to give up whatever I'm doing and leave them alone. That cures it most of the time. Like if I'm like misting or moving something around or cleaning or anything like that and my animals get stressed, that's it that day. I leave them alone and they don't drop. I have had two animals drop their tails with me, but the one, it was a hatch. It had just hatched and it just, as soon as I opened up the incubator, it dropped its tail. And then another one, she was she was like 30 grams. but I had just gotten her, and she laid 2 infertile eggs. I misted, and she was coming out. She saw me. I misted her enclosure, and she just dropped her tail. So, like, sometimes they'll do it for no reason. Sometimes it's you pushing the animal a little too much when they're not okay with what's going on. But it's not as scary to have them. You don't have to worry about them dropping their tail all the time like people say that you do.
Yeah, because I was, I'm like, ah.
No, it's not as bad as I've seen the horror stories of people saying like, oh, if you go in there and you touch it, that's it. It's gonna lose its tail. Like, no, you're fine. Don't be afraid of your pets.
And so is it, would you say it was better ones that you raise up because they're used to you and your normal everyday habits and the bumpity bumps that go on in your house possibly and the noises
Yeah, like my house is not quiet. And when I'm in here, I'll turn my phone on and I'll blast music. Just doing my own thing. And I listen to like almost every genre. So I mean I'll be listening to Biggie for 3 minutes, and then the next song that pops up is aggressive screaming and like screamo or something like that, like older stuff or like so they're very like that's something that they're pretty used to the noise. So normally when people get an animal from me, they don't say that they have to worry about the noise. It's just when they get the younger ones, if they're a little jumpy still while you're handling them and you constantly are going like this catching them because they're jumping away, I give them a heads up because I mean I try to hold all of them every day, but it's not. I mean it's you got other stuff going on, and sometimes you just got to come in and take care of them, make sure that they're doing good, but you can't hold them for 100 animals for 10 or 15 minutes each every day.
gotcha.
But normally mine aren't that bad because I'll hold them like 2 or 3 times a week for each of them. It's just sometimes like the boys that I just had out, they'll have days where like it doesn't matter what you're doing or how used to being held they are, they're just running off.
Gotcha. Yeah, I got a 50-gallon tote down here on the floor with guppies in it, and my frog is is up there. Yeah, I can see my lizard swimming all the time.
Yeah, what scared me is I actually had somebody. It was I think it was their first gecko or their second one, and he messaged me a couple months after he got it, and he's like, I don't know what to do, but I was holding the female that I got from you, and I had a bucket of cleaning stuff because I was mopping the floor, and she jumped in the bucket. I'm like, what do you want me to do? Like, you gotta. He's like, what would you do for that? I was like, I wouldn't have
Cleaning,
cleaning
yeah.
stuff. I'm handling the animals. I was like, but like, wipe her off. Like, if you can, rinse her off a little bit with your spray bottle and wipe her down. And I was like, don't try and soak her, but just, gently wipe her off and see how she does. Keep a very close eye on her. And please put the bucket away when you're done mopping.
Ooh, yeah. I don't know how he even.
Oh my God, I almost had a stroke that day when he said that.
Not one of those common sense things, I guess.
And it
Oh,
is like I feel bad for the guy and I felt bad for the animal, but come on, like some stuff you got to use your head, man.
yeah.
Yeah.
Have you used Morph Market yet?
I have one. Yeah, I've had my morph market for a little while now, and I do use that quite often. Most of the time I'll give my Instagram followers a heads up on my stories if I'm going to list anything. So they'll kind of get like first dibs. And then normally an hour or two after I post it on my Instagram story, I'll pop up pictures on my morph market.
Gotcha. Inquiline, what's going on? So what is your experience with morph market? Your experience.
Sometimes it's kind of like Craigslist. Like, like sometimes you'll get people and they're like, hey, is this still available, or can I see that? They want all this information, which is great. I know I love sharing the information, but then they'll just disappear.
Kicking tires.
Yeah, so like it's kind of weird to me because anytime I've inquired about an animal and decided I didn't want to go forward with the purchase, I told the breeder that. I was like, okay, thanks. I think I'm gonna pass. Just to, and I've seen so many people that don't. I'm like, this is kind of weird. Like people just dip out. They don't say nothing. You're like, all right, it's been 3 days and they haven't said anything, so I guess they're not interested anymore.
Disrespect. Yeah, I've been there selling tanks and stuff like that on different things, a lot of different things. Hey, is this still available? Yes. And then that's
Yeah,
it. Like,
it's like Facebook
yes, it is.
Marketplace.
Bunny Viper says to check your morph market link on Instagram. It wasn't
It wasn't working.
working.
That's weird. Let me see. Yeah, hey, sometimes when you try and use the links, they don't, like, they'll work. Oh, yeah,
And Instagram has had an issue lately also.
yeah.
Because luckily you were able to get on from the link from Instagram, but my last two to three streams, the links that I sent through Instagram, they couldn't get on, so they had to either give me their phone number or their email because it wouldn't connect.
Oh, see, no, I didn't even. So, like, it wouldn't. My morph market's working. Oh, that's way too bright, but it did work for me, so it might just have been that at that time. But the link actually didn't work on my phone. I copied the link code or the HTTP, and I just manually put it into my computer search bar.
Oh,
And
okay,
then
okay, gotcha.
the most I've ever paid for a gecko. Um, I I've regretted buying her a little after, like quite a few months after, but she just was too big for any of the males that I had to be able to pair with her. She was mean, but I paid like $700 for a really nice extreme harlequin, and I wound up having to let her go just because at the time I couldn't keep anything um that I wasn't currently breeding or holding back to breed. So I felt bad, but I kept her for like a year and it just didn't work out. But after that, the Lilly was actually a little bit cheaper, like $650. I paid for him.
Do
And
you
then
have any Harlequin and Brindle you could show us?
yeah, let me see if he's fired up.
Sabrina, we're gonna have to hook up on Messenger because I might be coming your way for one of these little critters. I know my daughter is gonna be interested in it.
This one's kind of. So this is the only one that I have, but I just... Where did he run off to? Let's see if I can get him.
Runoff and lizard is never really a good thing, you know, to go together.
He's contained, but this one hides so good. Oh, there he is.
Y'all still in the same place, mother geckos? See how having you on made me totally forget that I knew a gecko breeder personally. I mean, that's sad. That's sad. Well, see, it was fish first. We both had betters, and you know, and so on and so on. So when she changed over to geckos. I wasn't looking at them yet.
I feel bad. I can't get him out.
She said, "Have you ever had an escape gecko go missing for a night or two?"
Yes. And I was like, I'm not even gonna... The son of Kaiba that I showed you guys earlier, he escaped and he disappeared for 24 hours. And I was hysterical. I really was. Like, I was so upset. I tore the room up looking for him. And then at the time I was working from home. So I had the office to work in the gecko room. And as soon as I went in there, I turned the curtains up for the day, and he was sleeping on the window. But he was missing a whole 24 hours. And I was so upset. And then when I saw that, I was so mad at him. Like, it was his fault. I was like, I know it's my dumb fault for allowing him to escape, but like, how dare you only be sleeping on the window for everyone to see when I tore up the room looking for you.
Have a good one, Bunny. Thank you for coming through. Yeah, I lost the whole Cayman in the house. I mean, I found it.
Oh my God.
Yeah, I've lost frogs and turtles, and you know, good. You know, my mom. You know, she's not here to hear about that because she didn't know when she was alive. Rest her soul, because it might have killed her.
Yeah, my mom is not a fan of the reptiles.
I lost a whole bucket of baby frogs. I think the cat may have eaten them, but I know they were all gone.
Oh my God.
Why did I have a bucket of baby frogs in the house? Hey, who knows? I was about 7, you know, but 7 or 8, somewhere there. But they went missing.
Thing. I would just come home with stuff. Like, I had come home with a turtle the one day, like just a box turtle. We found him on the side of the road, and we were young. We were kids, so we thought we were saving him by not just leaving him alone and bringing him home. I didn't even know, too.
Like he wasn't at home already.
Yeah. Well, we had, for some reason, we had a guinea pig cage. We've never had guinea pigs, but it was in the shed. So me and my friends brought home this turtle and hid it in the shed. And I mean, we were like 8, so we didn't know. And we hid it in the shed, and we were feeding it lettuce and tomato that we were stealing from the kitchen. And we kept it like that for like a week. And we were doing pretty good. Like, the little dude was eating good and everything like that. And I went to clean out the guinea pig cage, put him on the grass because I was like, it's a turtle. He can't go that far. Sprayed out the thing, cleaned it real good, put the new stuff in there for him, cleaned out his little water bowl, turned around, and he was gone. I don't know where he went. I looked all over the property. He was just out. I didn't even know turtles could go anywhere that fast. It was like 2 minutes and he was out.
Oh, yeah. I had one climb the wall of a little enclosure that I made. Notice I said enclosure that I made. It was a little musk turtle, and I don't know why I thought this enclosure like I don't know, but he climbed out. He disappeared. I found him months later outside. Like there's a I was in the middle of town, but there was this wooded area between properties.
Mm.
Like our house, then it was a old vacant lot that was like wooded, and then some other people. I found the shell out there, right? And my mother and grandmother had me thinking the turtle burned off and made it that far out there, and I guess died. Then I found out later on he was like under the dryer, and he had died under the dryer, and they got somebody
Oh,
to put it out there.
oh my
I'm like,
god.
it may have been better to tell me that you found it under the dry
I
than me
know.
running up on the shell out in the bushes.
I know. I think I
Oh,
probably would have preferred having him found somewhere in the house. I
oh.
had a dog drink a couple betas when we had an outdoor beta. Oh my god.
I wonder
We just got a cat. Like a month and a half, 2 months ago. And uh I switched my dairy cow isopods into a new tub so that they could have more space. And I think she ate one because there's now one less isopod. I only had like a 10 count, so I knew how many there were. And she was sitting next to me just watching them, and I didn't even think. And yeah, she ate one right next to me.
yeah, cat is gonna try it out. They don't. Yeah, they're gonna try it out.
No, she's trouble too. She don't mess with none of these geckos except Carnage, the red male that was biting me.
That's because he's
And
probably at the front of the box when she comes by.
well, as soon as she comes in, he like, doof, you hear him on the tub. Like he'll jump to the front, and then she'll like try and swat at him because she gets all like anger. I don't know. She's not growling, but she gets like all. She runs over as soon as she sees him jump on the tub, and she's swatting at him, and he's trying to bite her paw as she's swatting on the tub. I'm like you two need to get out of here.
Carnage. Oh my goodness. Let me see. Oh man, I had a question that I forgot. Hold on. Let me. Oh, come on, come on, come on, come on. Oh, what was the question? The dog drinking the better messed me up. Oh, let me see.
Hopefully it was like not. I've
Uh,
seen some expensive betas, so hopefully it wasn't super expensive ones.
yeah, she had some very nice ones. I hope it wasn't one of the expensive ones.
I really, really hope it was
Oh,
like a $10 one.
ooh. No, she didn't have any $10 ones.
Oh my god,
Well, I don't know.
I would have cried.
Outside pond, maybe I don't know. Maybe she had some out there that was like, hey, it's a novelty, and let's put them out here. Because I know she had some high-dollar ones. I hope they wasn't outside. I would have put them outside.
I had like
Oh,
3 betas once, but they weren't super expensive.
but I went through a better stage, and that 3 will turn to 30, and then and
And
then it's
that's
like,
what I
oh,
was worried about.
oh my
So I
God, I
just
got all these
small
betas. What I'm
tank.
gonna do? I say $45. Oh
Ugh.
no! Whoa.
See, like that's too
We
much. I don't know what I would have done. I would have been so mad at that dog.
Ooh, we can't be drinking. Oh, can't be drinking a $50 bill. We can't do it.
No, that's why the dogs are not allowed in this room. Because I have two, and my one that we rescued, I've seen what she'll do. She got a hold of baby rabbits outside the one day. She's not coming in this room because after what I
Ooh,
had to clean up in the backyard, it's not happening in here.
Good. So where do you see yourself in 1 year?
Um, well, I would like to get to the point to where this is. I mean, I've kind of been thrown into where I have to make this work. Um, I told, I've always told people, like, I want this to be something that is full time. And um, a couple months in April, I lost my job. I was forced to quit because I could not come back to the office because my son was homebound from school. It was home instruction and everything. Like there had to be somebody here, and teachers were coming and everything like that. And I said, I can't come back to the office unless he's coming with me and his teachers meet us there. And it was just because that's my boss didn't like having people that he wasn't able to see every day to make sure they were doing what they were supposed to. So I was told to either quit or come back to the office. Um, and so this is going to be this next coming year is going to really draw the line for me as to like whether I can actually do it full time. So I've just been putting everything into the animals. Just because I mean if I would love to work with them. I don't care if I have 5 rooms of animals. I would love to do all that work and work with them every day. But
No,
I
that's
got to
right.
make it work with these guys before I can get to that stage.
Right, right. Okay. So
One
I
day
guess,
maybe I'll have a warehouse like Altitude Exotic and go on vacations and have a couple people working for me.
hey, you could do it. All it is time, patience, dedication.
Yeah. And I
Yeah.
do want to work towards I'm gonna be working on my gargoyle geckos, and I want to get chihuahuas and lychees at some point so that I still have my projects for my crested geckos, but they're not the only thing that I'm working on. So hopefully I
Gotcha.
can build those up one by one.
Gotcha. You can do it. You can do it. We're gonna pray for that. You can do it. Most definitely. Most definitely. So, ma'am, do you have any parting? Because we've hit an hour and 13, and it's time for us to go. Do you have any? I mean, whatever. Plug something. Uh, inspirational words. Anything. The floor is open for you.
Um, well, I've come across a lot of people, like I was saying before, where I've brought up this being something that I am now putting myself into the position where I got to make it work and push for what I want instead of doing another 9 to 5 and having a miserable time doing it. If you have, so this has taught me a lot already in the past couple months that I haven't had the job is if you have something you want to do, what is stopping you? You got to make it work. In order for me to build up to this, I was doing my 9 to 5, taking care of my son, taking care of the house and our other animals, and then staying up until 1 or 2 in the morning to get up at 6 for work again.
Hmm.
You gotta have, like if you want to do it, go full force. You, the only thing you're really gonna have to worry about is you holding yourself back.
Mm, mm, mm.
So,
Hey,
like
ooh,
you only, yeah, like you're only gonna regret what you haven't tried.
you talking to me right now? Because my 12 to 12 was part of me having a stroke May 4th, and YouTube, on my fish side over there, I'm in a position to where I can make it a thing. I have connections of people on Facebook on YouTube who has made it a thing, And they're always telling, hey man, all you have to do is this, all you have to do that. I got you, I can show you how to do this, I can show you how to do that. Just but we get so used to showing up to somebody else's thing and give all this dedication, all this, oh my God, I gotta go, they're gonna be mad, or if I don't show up, or if I but have something that's close, near and dear to our own heart, and won't put the same amount of time in it because we don't find ourselves as important for whatever reason, because we're living in ourselves.
Yeah.
But we don't find ourselves as important as that other person who we're making money for.
And that's
Yeah,
what it is. We're
you was
raised,
talking. Woo.
yeah, we're raised to be people pleasers, but it's like we forget that we are people. You need to please yourself before you can ever think of helping somebody else.
Ooh. I'm on anxiety medication after 50 years because of this job. Yes, you were talking right to me.
And it is,
I'm
yeah, like I grew up, like my parents, there were four of us. My parents did not have money. Like I would go, we would have family game night with candles because we didn't have electricity for a couple of days. And that was every month. And we would lose water, and I would go sleep over my best friend's house a couple of houses down because there I could take a shower and have water to drink instead of us trying to store pails of water before they shut it off.
Yep.
And that was something I saw all the time. My dad still, I mean, he just had a stroke in October because he's working 12 and 14-hour days, still worried that they're going to go back to that. Because now it's like stuck in his head and he can't think of anything else or doing anything else that makes him happy. And I was like, I don't want to do that. I don't want to kill myself stressing about stuff like that when I'm not even doing something I'm happy about. So now, like, I've just been really trying to push myself to not do anything like that and to be somebody who's encouraging others to think that way and help themselves before they go to a job and help their boss get to what they want. And then you're coming home miserable or exhausted.
Most definitely. Most definitely. That's real right there. That's real. Now plug your social medias. Put it all out there.
So everything is under the same name. My Facebook page is Sinful Scales, a sinful space scales. And then my Instagram, my TikTok, and my Morph Market are all the same. The only difference is when you search up those three, it's all one word. There's no spacing in between Sinful Scales. And it'll all have the same picture to it. It's a purple background with my logo is a purple background with some dragon lilies. And then one of my crested geckos, his name is Smoke Show. And then the first gargoyle gecko that I got, who's Lorelei.
Okay. Smoke Show. Now I waited to the end to ask this question. Oh, I hate it because people have a tendency to turn videos off when it gets to this point. The name Sinful Scales, where did that come from? Darius, what's going on?
So Sinful Scales was actually something that my boyfriend thought of. I am my beliefs are more like a witch. I don't believe in going to church and all, like the Bible and stuff like that. I mean, I've studied it, but it doesn't really fit me. So I wanted this to have a little bit of me in it. And I was going for something. I was talking to him about names and everything like that, and he's not interested in the reptiles. But I was saying, what about wicked scale, or like something like that. I was saying all these different like type of witchy names, and he's like, just put it as Sinful Scales. And I was like, I actually liked that a lot. And then it just stuck. So it was really him, but he was trying to help me out and he just threw it out because he thought it would fit me and what I was trying to do. And it just stuck.
Gotcha. And with nobody else knowing the background of it, it's still a good name just by itself. Just because that's why I had to ask. I'm like, Simple Scales, don't like the picture logo. Okay,
Yeah, like
come on,
it flows good, I feel like.
gotcha. Like I was saying about the big tank Hank, I said it's a lot of extra, added to it or whatever. But I had other names, but that one just stuck out. In chats, people were like, "Oh my, hey," just out of nowhere. Hey, big tank Hank, that's cool. I'm like,
Yeah,
hey,
like
okay.
your name, it sticks out really well, and it's easy to remember. I wanted something easy to remember and shorter, and
Simple
like the
Scales,
same with
gotcha,
Big Tank Hank. Like it's 3 words, but it's short and it's easy to remember.
gotcha, most definitely, and that's cool. That is cool. Now we finna get out of here. Everybody in chat, thank you for coming through and spending this time with us. Brianna, remembered it again. Thank you for coming. First of all, thank you for saying you do it. Thank you for coming on, and having this conversation with me. We've learned a whole lot and I have enjoyed it. Thank you very much. Thank you.
Yeah.
For those listening on my podcast, because it's going to be uploaded over to the podcast side, thank y'all for listening. And for those looking at the replay gang, thumbs up. Thumbs up. Thank y'all all very much for coming through. And like I say, tell somebody you love them because there's somebody that you know near and dear to you that needs to hear it. And there's somebody that's not near and dear to you that still needs to hear it. And take care of those animals. James, what's going on, man? All right, y'all, we out.
Bye. Thank you for having me.
No problem. Hey, Darius, man, much love to you too, man. Hey, enjoyed you on my show. All right, y'all, we out.